You know, it's never hard to just check on people, more often than usual. Not too long ago, I had, a friend of mine that passed away unexpectedly. Like it was the last person I would know that would happen to. And, it touched a lot of people, touched a lot of people's hearts, mine too, you know. Just had this weird gut feeling is, he had his future planned ahead of him, gonna graduate in college in May. After big things, it's just cut short unexpectedly. But it just made me later realize, because I know I've been pretty distant from, a lot of my peers, sometimes family members. But it's not out of spite because, I despise them or hate them. It's just that, sometimes while you're in solitude, you just, you block out the noise and you just become too comfortable being by yourself. And I know sometimes it's not the greatest thing, but at the same time, being able to be comfortable within your own self, can be beneficial at times. You don't have to rely or depend on anybody. Because I know myself, I don't want to be someone that depends or reaches on to someone else. That's not the case at all, I want to get on my own, figure things out on my own. But, it's okay, to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help, even though, that you have, the option to reach out and ask for someone else's help. But I just be thinking a lot. And with the things you want to do in your life, but you sometimes feel like you have a sense of laziness. Just go out there and just do it. You just gotta take a couple steps to do it. And progress will be made. But until you make action and until you make that first step, you'll be in the same spot, same place as you at right now. It might seem hard, but as long as you take that first step, you'll be on your way. You'll be on your way to success. It takes little by little. Get 1% better each and every day. That's the motto I try to go by. I can blame as fault too, at times I feel like I'm stagnant and I don't have the energy to really do anything. But I gotta remember who I'm doing this for, not just only for me, but I want to set an example for, my peers, my younger siblings, my family, my mom, stepmom, pops, everybody, just want to not only make them proud, but just make myself proud, if anything, because, I'm the one that has to do it and go through all the hardships and adversity and all of the above, because I'm the only one to do it. And, people, you really think about it, people don't really, they care about you, but to a certain degree. And also, too, I don't know, since this passing or what's up, people come together and you don't see some people for a certain amount of time. But then when a big tragedy like this happens, people come together. You see a lot of different faces that you haven't seen in a while. But I don't know. I don't know if it's just me, but I just don't like the fact how sometimes like a big event like this happens, and it brings people together, but like not on the good reason. I mean, it is good a reason, to help support or condolences, but I don't know, even though people are not connected, people go their separate ways, college or different careers or whatnot. I don't know, it never hurts to just stay in contact with those certain people, never be like too distant from one another. and, just, reach out once in a while, like a phone call, text message, anything like that. I can blame myself for that too, because, I've been alone and been in solitude for so long. I've kind of just like blocked out everything and just was just a straight tunnel vision. And just forget about, everything. But, as I'm older now, not even as I'm older now, but, I feel like it just happened this week, like clicked to me and like realized that, you gotta make that extra, you gotta reach out your hand once in a while, once every now and then. It never hurts at all, because you never know what anyone's going through. Some people be having, lots of things going through their mind, battling things. And, that one text message or phone call can really, it can really help in a huge way, huge way that, you don't even know. Because, them battling stuff, it can get the best of them. It really can. Yes, I have experienced that too. Some kind of nights, just thinking of like the position I'm in, not knowing that it's not temporary, not permanent, but temporary for now. It's like I'm not satisfied of where I want to be at. There's things and dreams and aspirations that I want to achieve, but I feel so far from right now. But I know I have to put the work in, and get it myself and reach for it, because I know no one else is gonna do it for me. No one else is really gonna for real help you to get to that goal. A lot of people are just out for themselves, and people don't want to blatantly say that out in the public, but it is true, because everybody's trying to succeed like you're trying to succeed. Everybody's trying to move up the ladder, and, get to their dream. And sometimes in that process, kind of fade away and like forget about certain people, and just in a dark tunnel, just straight tunnel vision. And I just want to say that connect with people a little bit more. Life is very precious, and you never know when it's gonna stop, and you can't be too complacent and take life for granted, because anything can happen in a matter of seconds. Anything. So with much time you have, you just gotta take advantage of it to the best of your abilities. I'm not saying that you have to be productive 24/7, just be workhorse, just slave and everything else, but make life memorable. Have fun what you're doing, have fun while you're doing it. Don't work yourself out too hard, which honestly, I think like in life, you're not really meant to life, like this life we're living right now is hard to succeed. Like I think about it now, like it's so easy to not be successful, but it's hard to get to the top and be successful. Like it's crazy how it seems, but I've come to like realization that like that's really how it is. Like there's a lot of people that they want to make a difference, they want to make change, but because of their environment or because of the resources they currently have, they're constantly stuck in a continuous cycle. And I don't want to say I feel like that way. Well, I do feel like that way in a certain degree, but you just got to go out there and break through and separate yourself from the pack, but also to know that you have certain people around you that that really want to be there for you. But sometimes you got to get out your shell and meet with those people and see those people each and every day. You know, you got to know that you're not the only one in this world that's alone. There's a lot of other people that are dealing with the same stuff that you're dealing with, but sometimes you're stuck in darkness for so long that you just forget about everything. And, that's how I was feeling. I am still feeling. I'm still am feeling. Still. And man, it's crazy. It really is. I don't know. It really is. Solitude it can mean a multitude of things, but the one thing I could definitely say is, it's definitely lonely. That's one thing you get out of it. Once you're in solitude for so long, so long, it just gets really lonely, but at the same time, you're so comfortable being lonely that you don't really let it affect you, You can just enjoy your own company, your own peace. Because, really peace is everything for me, I value my peace more than a lot of things, a lot of certain things. Even though peace is not a physical being, a physical thing, like internally and mentally, I need peace. Because, without peace, I don't know, I wouldn't want to be in rage and anger all the time. So peace kind of like centers me. It really centers me to just be calm and be mellow and just be, overall just, it keeps me down to earth when I most need it, just peace. And, peace can come through a lot of things, not just one certain thing, Anything you do that you find peace in and a safe haven, go ahead and do it. If you have something that, you kind of kept on the back burner, and you're like, nah, it can wait. You can wait a little bit more. Nah, go ahead and do it, because it might be your true calling. If you just tap into it, who knows? You can be the best at it. You can be the best at it. You can be the greatest at it. But you got to take that step. You got to take that initiative. And that's why I've been trying to tell myself, to do with, a couple of things I'm interested in, like this, making contact, making, deep talks or whatnot. I enjoy drawing, graffiti, graphic design. I enjoy a lot of things, basketball. I don't know, and also too, with basketball, I feel like since I was in college the last time, I kind of like really died out, and I kind of like, not kind of, but I lost the love for it, honestly, for quite a while. I still watch it and stuff, high school, college, some NBA. But whenever I physically go and hoop, I just don't really have that same spark anymore. And I can't really be there for long because I don't really have that same passion and drive for it. But it's slowly gaining back. I'm slowly getting my mojo back with things. I never lost touch. Don't get that twisted. I never lost touch, but sometimes when you love something for so long, as a young kid, and then you start getting older, and things don't really come into fruition, you kind of come to realization that I don't want to say it doesn't work out, but you just got to come to reality. It's there's other things in life you can tap into, other things in life you can do besides what you're doing right now. And sometimes you just got to put your eggs in multiple baskets. And I feel like for so long I kind of wanted this one thing to work so bad, and you do all your might, all your power, and to do it, and it doesn't work out. But also too, I feel like the reason why it kind of didn't work out as much as I wanted to, Granted, I did a lot of stuff, went to a lot of places, traveled a lot, met amazing people because of it. But because I had kind of the lack of like self-motivation and like drive, and didn't really work as hard enough, I feel like I didn't, push past that barrier. So I really wanted to. I take blame for that. And also too, when I was younger, my confidence wasn't, the greatest, While I'm open gyms, runs, ball out, do moves that when I'm in a game, I just get that certain gut feeling and I just freeze up for like no reason. And like I think of myself now, like I don't know why that happened, but also too, I think now my confidence and like forget basketball and everything, just like when I was younger, my confidence was just the lowest of the lowest. I wasn't really that confident in myself. Wasn't really confident in my voice and talking to people, and it kind of, hurt me because, if I was confident in myself and had myself to a certain standard, a lot of stuff would have been different. But, you learn and you evolve. And I can't really change the past at all. So now, since those years passed by and I've gained wisdom and gained knowledge, and now that I know that I'm more comfortable being confident for myself and speaking up for myself, I can always change that. It's never too late to, improve. It's never too late to improve. And just, I don't know, whenever I talk about this, it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet because I know, I would go back in time, a lot of things would have changed about me. A lot. But, I also think too, a lot of those things that happened to me molded me into, the person I am today. And I wouldn't really change that for everything because, sometimes you got to go through those experiences to, get to a different place or get to a point where you're at right now. And, I'm not satisfied with the position I am in right now, but I just know that I know there's people out there in the world that is way worse, and if they had the opportunity to trade places with me, I know they would in a heartbeat. So you got to be grateful for the position you're in right now, but you don't want to get complacent or too comfortable within your situation. You always want to strive for more. You want to always get more. But you just got to trust the process. That is key. Trusting the process is key. Everyone's path is very, very different. No one's going to really have the same path, to the promised land or success or whatever you call it. But what you do in your path and the steps and routes and overall just, the way you design how your story starts and how you want it to prolong, it's really up to you. It really is. You come in this world alone and you will leave this world alone. So whatever you choose, how you spend your time being on this earth, it's totally up to your decision. It really is. So just be mindful of that and, take life seriously, because I feel like at times we don't take it as seriously. We just take it for granted. Oh, I just wait for this tomorrow. Oh, I just do that tomorrow. You can do it now. You just get it out the way. You just do it now and don't wait. Like, there's no time you don't have to waste for it. Just go ahead and do it. Just do it. No Nike. Just do it. You know, it just, it's been really, it's been a lot these couple past days and stuff like that. Just haven't been feeling too motivated for quite frankly anything really. You know, just been, stuck in my stagnant. But I want to change. I really do. Change is beautiful. You know, it's what makes us who we are. You want to change. You don't want to be the same individual you was before. You don't want to keep evolving as the years go on. And my true message is, whatever you're going through right now, whatever obstacles you're going through at the moment, just know it's not forever. It's not forever. Hard times don't last forever. Pain is only temporary. Sometimes, whether you like it or not, hard is best. Hard is the best for you. Sometimes you got to go through hard to get to the good. Sometimes you have to endure pain to being healthy again. It just all comes with the cycle of life. It's not really meant to be easy. Especially if you haven't had things handed to you or not, and your situation is not the best, but not the worst. Also, it's just in the middle. You gotta be that person that breaks through and goes to the upper level. Because you can do it. I know I can do it. But all it just goes back to taking that first step. You gotta take that first step, that first initiative. And just go. Go and reach for the stars. Sky's the limit. You can put your mind to anything you want to. There's no limits at all. You just gotta do it. You just gotta go get it and do it. That's all you gotta do. That's all I gotta say. Till next time.